show today, we have Blvck Jesus, who is, I'm just going to say bass music producer, because he produces a few different genres under the umbrella, including hardstyle, dubstep, hard trap. How are you, man? Welcome to the show.
Good, bro. I'm doing really good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So you're from LA, right?
Yeah, South Central.
Okay. Born and raised there?
Yeah.
Excellent. And then you're also 23, right?
25.
Oh, you're 25 now. Okay,
Yeah,
cool. You're in your
25.
bio, it says 23. So
Yeah, gotta change that.
when did you turn 25?
Last year.
Last year. Okay, so you were 25 when you first played EDC. Congrats on that. Why don't we talk a little bit about that? How was that experience for you?
It was definitely different than all the other shows I've definitely played. It was just a cool experience to be a part of it, especially since we've been waiting like a cool minute to do it. Because we
Dude, for real.
2020, and obviously, COVID hit.
Yeah.
We were able to, but it was a really cool experience to finally be able to like see what it was like to be on the stage. So
That's dope.
like eye-opening for me.
That's awesome. Yeah, that I'm glad that, because I know some people that were booked for 2020 didn't actually end up playing when it actually happened last year. So I'm glad that you guys were able to still play. What stage were you on?
Me and my friends, we did the Wasteland stage. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Yep. Sick.
Yeah, so we were playing hardstyle to like the crack of dawn, pretty much.
Was your set super late?
It was, man.
Damn.
It was cool because like we did it a little different. We really wanted to mix up and really emphasize on the subgenres of hard dance, which was our like main goal. So we played a little hard trap, we played raw trap, we played, even hyper pop, we played
that's dope.
Raw style, hard style, you name it. We pretty much played all of it. So it was really cool.
That's awesome, man. So I'm curious, just because I am a Christian. Your name Blvck Jesus, where did that come from?
It's funny. It was like a joke at first, and then it just turned into something because this dude I used to be a swimmer.
Okay.
So
same actually. I used to play water polo. So
oh
same.
really? Same.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was at a meet, and this dude comes up to me. He thought I was this guy named Blvck Jesus from Twitter, and I was like, that's me. But I like the name, so I just changed everything into Blvck Jesus, and it kind of just stuck. So when I started DJing, I couldn't think of anything better, and so I was like, I'll just keep this for now until I change it. But then it just turned into a life of its own.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it was really cool to see like the reaction I've got, because like that was kind of my goal. I didn't want anyone to make it like a religious thing.
Right. Yeah, I figured it wasn't. I was curious.
Yeah, it's cool that people instantly catch on to that. Like, it was like something I, thought of. It was.
Are you religious in any way?
Not really.
No. Yeah, that's okay. Most people, especially nowadays, I feel like most people aren't, unless you're raised like that. But my parents, I grew up, being raised by Christian parents. So that's the main reason why.
My family's religious, and my mom was, in the church. She still does.
How does she feel about that name?
It's funny because she's been super supportive.
That's sick. Like, hell yeah!
I explained it to her, and once I did, she was like, "Okay, whatever."
Yeah,
so
that's awesome. Really cool. That's awesome. When did music production start for you? How old were you when that happened?
As far as production, it started 4 years ago, or going to be 5 years now. My roommate Justin, he's in this duo called Marvels, and we used to live together, and he kind of got me onto it, and I saw him produce like all the time after I got off from work, and then I would just see him and ask him questions, and then eventually my cousin found out I was doing music, so this dude sent me a computer. He's like, "Yo, do whatever you want, like here you go." And then from there, I just started dabbling in production, and then just practice every day until I got the hang of it.
Are you a FL or Ableton person?
Ableton.
There we go.
Gotta stick to Ableton.
Hell yeah. Do you also produce other genres of music though, right? You had a track that went #1 on your local radio station that was not even related to EDM, right? Tell me a little bit about that.
So yeah, I produced a EP called Ruin My Life. And it was like a passion project I did with some friends, and it kind of really took a life of its own. I didn't expect the reaction I got from it, but I was really inspired from the rock music that was getting put out, and I've always talked about making my own rock album, I guess you could say, since I was a kid. So when I had the opportunity to do it during quarantine, I took advantage of it, and we sent it to K-Rock, and they ended up playing the title song on the air, and it was on the air for like 2 months straight.
That's awesome.
It's really, really cool. It was a cool experience.
I know a lot of people, or a lot of producers, I guess, most of the people that I know at least produce like different genres, but rarely do I see someone produce something that's like completely outside of EDM and to actually go on the radio. Like that's a big deal, man.
Yeah, it was scary at first, but then eventually, like, you know, I just got over the fear and just sent it. Like I just went for it, you know.
Yeah. What inspired? Did you just grew up listening to rock and it was just something that you wanted to do?
Huge influence on me. Like when I was in my mom's house, like I couldn't really listen to a lot of like hip hop and like that, and I wasn't really into hip hop. So I listened to a lot of like,
I've never been into hip hop.
Yeah, I'd never really been into it. And I would listen to a lot of like Christian rock, like Amberlin, Praise, Reliant K was one of my favorite, Skillet, you know.
Oh yeah. Skillet's huge. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, exactly. So I was heavily influenced by that. And then eventually I crossed over to like Pink Floyd, Guns N' Roses, you know, Led Zeppelin.
Classics. Eagles.
Yeah, Eagles.
Yes.
Blues, you know, the Doors. And
That's awesome.
You know, I just got hella inspired from those guys and kind of just was like, I'm gonna do my own version of that, you know. So
might as well. And a great way to take advantage of the downtime in COVID too.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I want to talk a little bit about your career. First question, what are you most proud of about your career so far?
Honestly, how far I've come with the sound that I'm making now. It took me a really long time to really find my sound. And there was a point to where, you know, frustration was happening. You know, I was getting frustrated. I didn't really know what direction I was heading in.
Right.
Especially making just one thing all the time.
Yeah.
And when I got over, like, I don't have to do that, it made making music so much better for me.
Yeah.
And I was able to cross genres with other people and do different things. And I didn't feel like I was put in a box. So it's really cool.
I was going to say, you seem like a very versatile, like artist.
Yeah.
I've gone through I've gone through your discography and I was like, oh, that's a hard trap song. Oh, that's a really sick hardstyle song. Oh, it's like you make a lot of different things, and you're really good at all of them. So that's awesome.
I appreciate
that. Yeah.
Being creative with it, just trying different stuff that really got me. That's what I'm most proud of. It's just like what I've been doing over the years and the progression of it.
And especially the amount of ground that you've covered just within 4 years.
Exactly. Like it was hard, but like we made it work, you know. Like,
that's awesome. What would you say one of the biggest pieces of advice that you've learned along your journey that you think that would be important to share with someone who is just starting out, maybe maybe's done it for a little bit, but just trying to find either their sound or like their placement within the industry?
My biggest advice that I can personally give is like adaptability and innovation. It's been the most important thing to me, I can say, as far as my career has gone, because like I said before, like a lot of artists tend to feel like they have to rely on one thing in order to get them to a certain point, where there's so much ground to cover in music as a whole, especially being a producer. And I feel like limiting yourself to one genre really hurts you more than it helps you. Like there's nothing wrong with being good at one genre and really pushing it, but also testing the bounds of other things, whether it be music, fashion, art. You know, it shouldn't just be one thing that you're putting all your effort towards. There's different sources of income and ways of putting your name out there. As far as
I've had this conversation in the past where like looking at, you know, the music industry or being like a producer, like you kind of have to like you can't some people do make all their money off like touring and stuff, but you have to be like next level for that, you know what I mean? But like to start out and to like actually get your, you know, footing and doing this full time, it's like look at fashion, look at other facets, diversify your income, because even if it's, you know, $200 a month from streams combined with $400 a month from merchandise combined with your whatever show income, like then you're making some good money, but it's all the puzzle pieces fitting together into one brand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm barely getting the hang of it. I'm barely learning that. And like,
it takes a long time.
I'm still young in this game. I definitely haven't really like hit the point where I'm like comfortable yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm definitely heading in that direction. But I'm still in that learning process of like, okay, what other ways can I like use my music to help me out as far as making this a full-time career?
Yeah. So let me ask you this. what is staying adaptable? What does that look like for you? In what ways have you had to stay adaptable in your own?
New artists, looking for new music, what's coming up, what's brand new, whether it be music and like fashion trends. It's like the way you look also plays a key role, because it's your look, it's your brand. Like, as much as like a lot of people say, yeah, it's about the music, but also it's the way you present yourself. Like your brand is like how people see you and what you want them to see, you know? So like how you dress, the type of styles, whether it doesn't even have to be mainstream stuff. It could be some underground stuff or something your friend made and you want to put their clothes on. It's like you're the trendsetter. Like you're showing people like, hey, this is cool. This is something that I'm wearing and you should get on board with it. And it's
like, a statement of who you are as a person too. And
exactly
displaying who you are as a person makes it so that you're relatable to your audience.
Exactly.
And that's super important to grow an audience in the first place.
Like people are looking at that stuff. Like, what are your interests? Because they might like something that you're into, or you guys might have common interests. Like I find it funny when I'm like walking around like LA and I see people either listening to something that I listen to or wearing something that I like. And it's just like, okay, you have something you can relate to with that person, even though you never met them. Super trippy. It's super cool though at the same time.
Look at like Chami, he wears like the priest collar all the time. Or like by Bijou, he's like dressed as like super gangster with like gold chains and stuff. Just like it's just his image, like it just works so well with his brand though, you know. So it's super important. How did you learn the importance of staying adaptable? And like give me a time that like you were adaptable and you had to push through something.
Mainly through the music that I've been making, honestly. It was like the biggest lesson, because there was a point to where I was making hard trap, and then there was a point to where I was making hardstyle, and it got to a point to me where it was really hard to like find my place of where I fit in. But then the more I kept doing it, eventually it started catching on. Like I was kind of like a late bloomer. Like by the time people started realizing what I was actually trying to do was like literally last year.
Right.
And I've noticed that, because like there was a point where I was like gonna just stick to one thing, and then artists who I've looked up to came up to me. He was like, bro, you're so like versatile. It's crazy how you do different things. That's really impressive. Like, I don't know how you do it and stuff like that. And hearing that come from people I looked up to, and they, you know, they're like known in their genres, and I'm just trying to make a name for myself as just a general musician. It was very eye-opening. So it kind of like made me want to keep going and not stop. So like doing that is like making me like, yo, I'm going to do more hip hop, more rock, more pop music. Like you're going to see not just EDM for me this year, but all types of stuff.
That's awesome. As well. That's awesome. I feel like I said previously, I feel like not that many producers do that. So but that's definitely in a way making yourself like stand out from the pack, you know, which is important to grow a band, you know, a brand. So I was actually kind of honestly shocked to hear you give me that answer and give me you know what you would suggest to up and coming producers, because to me it seems like you are very adaptable. It's obviously you've worked hard on it, but you are very adaptable and you are very, very versatile. So when you told me that, I was like, damn, he must have worked really hard on that, because now you make it seem like you are one of the most adaptable people in our game. You know what I mean?
That. I just like to stay ahead, you know, like I'm a huge believer in looking for new stuff, like, and I'm all about the weirder the better. That's why I got into hyper pop. It was just a whole new world.
Dude, I barely know anyone that even makes that.
Hyper pop is such a crazy, like just a whole culture thing. Like it's insane. It's in like when I got into it and I started meeting people from that world, it really like opened my eyes of like, there's really no right way to make music. It's really how like it's up to that person, the listener, like, yo, this sounds cool. I want to.
And the people that do the best almost do the opposite of what is supposed to be done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Some of them don't, like half of them, like it was funny. I had conversation with artists and they was like, yeah, we don't master our shit. We just clip and this and that. And industry standard, they're like, oh, that's not how you're, but since I came from hardstyle clipping and distortions. Like,
it's like the name of the game.
Yeah. So like seeing them do that and being on the level that they were on, and it inspired me like big time. What do you think
has been like the biggest, how has it paid off for you the most of being versatile?
Working with artists I would have never imagined working with, whether it be EDM or non-EDM.
Okay.
I got an opportunity to work with one of my favorite rappers last year,
Oh,
Josiah, and
I
it
think
was
I've heard of him.
super sick artist,
Yeah.
really sick. He's like done stuff with like Travis Barker. He
Oh,
just
okay. Yeah.
project not too long ago, and I think he's putting out an album soon. I'm not too sure.
Sweet.
But yeah, he came up and he made this song called Break Shit, and I've been a huge fan of his ever since. And getting the opportunity to work with him was really cool. And it was very eye-opening because I was manifesting it and it just happened on random. And
That's awesome.
It wasn't even a hip-hop song, it was a rock song.
An
So
EDM producer and a rapper make a rock song. So
you know
sick.
what I mean?
So sick.
So it was really cool to have that experience. And then now I'm gonna dabble in K-pop. I'm dabbling in pop music.
Nice.
And
Actually, really, a lot of people, especially from the EDM scene, like hate pop music, but I love pop music. Honestly, like, there's a reason why it's popular.
Yeah. Certain ones I like, and then there's some I'm like,
yeah, they're just cheesy. Yeah. For our audience members that are listening right now, who are just starting out, or like I said, maybe doing this for a while, in what situations would you suggest that they learn to be adaptable in?
Practice. Constantly practicing. I'm self-taught, so I taught myself Ableton, and then I watched a lot of tutorials. Your tutorials are your best friends. It's funny because over the years, some of the guys who I used to watch as far as tutorials are now some of my closest friends.
That's
so
dope.
It's just immersing yourself into the culture that you want to be a part of. Like when I got into doing this as a whole, I didn't want to just be like, oh, get in, get out quick type shit. It's like, I'm not really in for the fame. I'm more into like building relationships and learn from these bigger guys because they have a lot of, information to share with you. And it's cool how open they are about it. They're not really stingy. And I've never, as far as I'm concerned, as far as the people I've worked with, has never been stingy with their information. And
I think that's the coolest thing is, especially in like the electronic world, is like almost everyone, no matter how big you are, like if they see someone that's really working their ass off to get to where they are, most people are like, here, man, this is how, like, let me help you. Let me pull you up with us, where like in other industries are like we were just talking about pop industry is completely different.
Yeah. It's super saturated. It's like a little like, oh, like not willing to help. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's going to happen, like when you're working in the entertainment industry, you're going to run into problems and encounters with certain people. But overall, like as long as you're staying true to yourself and being real, I feel like you can never go wrong. Like I really believe in that. Like you can never go wrong.
Yeah. When I read that you answered this question going into this interview, I had a question that I was actually curious about. Are there situations in which people shouldn't be adaptable and like stand your ground? Because I know in like certain situations where like things have happened at shows, maybe you just, in certain situations, you can't bend over backwards for everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what would you suggest navigating that topic?
I would say as far as like on the music end, if you like something, and I mean like this is something you're actually proud of, and like whether people are hating on it or not, you gotta really stand behind your own art. Because I've ran into instance where I was doing the crossover between hard dance and other stuff, and I got a lot of heat for it over the years. And people would tell me my music was trash and this and that. But at the end of the day, there's a reason why you're on the level you're on. There's a reason why you're in the position you're in. And you cannot let people dictate how you see your own music. Like it's your shit. If you fuck with it, if you like it, if you're enjoying what you're doing. Now there's a difference between criticism and hating. Like as long as you got to learn the difference between the two.
You got to respect. I like, I like both receiving criticism. I also like giving good constructive criticism. Exactly. Like I'm going to tell you the truth if I don't think something sounds good, but that doesn't mean like just because I said something doesn't mean that you should go and change that just because one person said something. Like, you know what I mean?
Because the biggest lesson I've learned making EDM specifically is like music is subjective.
Yeah.
You can never
100%.
say something sound good or bad. Like you can't. Even if a song is bad, that's bad to you. But there's someone out there that is vibing with it or listening to it on a consistent basis. And, how can you argue with that? Like, that's just, how it is. Like, it's all up to the person in the ear. Like as long as you like your music and you're vibing to it, someone else out there is gonna also. But it comes with that confidence. If someone doesn't see you vibing to your own shit, what makes you think they're gonna vibe? You know, you gotta have that. It's all about like that confidence and the swag behind your own stuff.
That's one thing as a fan, I'm sure we're all fans of this music, but like for example, like at Countdown for New Year's, I was there and I wanted to go see Jason Ross. I love trance, and all my friends are bass heads and they're stuck in a little bass head bubble, and it's just like, expand your mind a little bit. Like you don't have to like it, but I'll go leave all my entire group and go see a set, and I'll be right back. You know what I mean? Like that's what I like, so I'm gonna go see it.
I do the exact same thing. They want to see someone else and I don't, and I'm like, yo, y'all go do that. I'm gonna go do my thing. Like, it happens all the time.
So leading off of kind of your last point, you have a manager now, obviously. How long have you been with him?
It's gonna be about a year now.
Okay, cool. Do you think he helps or hinders your ability to remain adaptable? Because
Absolutely helps.
Okay, cool.
God, absolutely. Like,
okay, that's awesome.
Like not only my manager, but one of my closest friends, and
sweet.
It's just so crazy. I've never really had like a solid manager as far as the way me and him communicate, and we're so in tune with each other to where we're on the same page. That he doesn't like try to change who I am or what I want to do.
That's so important.
The moment we started working together, I gave him my complete blueprint of how I want my career to go from the beginning until the very, very end. Like I knew how I want it to go.
That's dope to even have that mapped out in your head.
I've had it mapped out since, because I'm on a 10-year plan. Like that's how I set it up.
Yep.
So right now I am on year 9.
Wow. Sweet.
9. And I'm definitely like on track of how I've been planning it for the last, almost 10 years now. So
planning and execution, so important. So
and it's baby steps, man. It's baby steps.
Yeah.
10 years to even make it in the industry. So
you freaking got to show up every day, every single day, even if it's moving a needle 0.5%, you have to show up.
Exactly. Yeah. My manager has been nothing but helpful to me. He guides me, and then he tells me straight up like if something's good or not, or what I should change about it, the direction we're heading in, and we have such great communication as far as that goes.
That's so cool. I know a lot of managers that don't let their artists be as flexible as like maybe your manager does, like you said. But what is, in your opinion, the managers who aren't like your manager and who like the micromanagers or like to micromanage, what's your opinion about that, and what should people do if they encounter that?
Honestly, like at the end of the day, like this is your business.
Yeah.
So always remember, like you're the one who gets to make the final decision. Like your manager is not your boss. It's not.
You're the boss. The artist is the boss. The manager works for the boss. Yeah.
It's your business. Like whether you're on the contract, you just got to lay down the law. Like let them know, like this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm going to do it. I appreciate your advice or your input, but this is how I want to do it. Now, whether you're wrong or right, like at the end of the day, you have that final decision, and it's just important for the artist to really take ownership of that. Like knowing, like you can't let someone sway you. Now you can get sometimes, like sometimes their advice is really, really good. Something like, yo, I don't think you should do this too soon, or I don't think you should do that. Like take heed to that, But if they're just blatantly trying to tell you what to make, how to make it, this and this and that, to me, that's like, okay.
I feel like that's where a lot of artists like lose themselves too.
Exactly.
They just do what they're told to do, and it's like, why are you even an artist at this point? Your creativity is out the window. You're just doing what everyone tells you to do.
Exactly. Like you're just like, you don't want to do that, and it's just gonna it's gonna put you in a bad place mentally. Yeah. And that's something I'm learning. Like I learned over the years ahead of time. So now I'm in a place where I generally make whatever I want, whenever I want. I don't put myself in a box as far as like, I got to make this today. Like I make it when I want to make it,
That's dope. I'm glad you took that approach too. And for anyone out there listening that you are dealing with a manager who's trying to micromanage you, I suggest getting a new one. It's not, as an artist, you should definitely not have to deal with that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Is there anything else that we kind of didn't touch on that you think is important for people to know about this topic?
Investing yourself, honestly.
Facts.
Don't rush it too soon. Like I would definitely recommend, like if you're working a day job or open up a business account on the side and start investing money, like putting money on the side, like if you would a savings, and use that money only for music stuff, like, you know, anything music related, whether it's buying samples, investing in new plugins, ads, promotion, marketing, you know, really, if you're really serious about doing something, and like reading books. I do that now.
Reading books is so important. Oh my gosh.
Music industry stuff. Like there's tons of different books out there that
send me some of your favorites, and I'll put them in the show notes
so
people can have it. Yeah,
definitely. I got you.
Sweet.
My favorites was The Third Door. It's not music related, but it was just the concept of what it was talking about. And it was talking about people who didn't take the easy way into their industry and the lens that they had to go through and where they were at. So it was a very interesting book to read.
Well, especially if you're not from, like, some people are lucky and it's like, oh, my dad was in the music industry, or, you know, their family is connected somehow. But like for those of us, like for me, like my family loves music and I grew up loving music, but no one took that leap of faith. No one went into the industry. I'm like the first generation to do that. So it's harder for us to like, it's like, we just got to freaking go for it and, you know, carve our own path.
That's really what this is, bro. You're taking a risk. Like music is about taking risks. And as long as you're taking risks, you're always going to get better. You're always going to be like taking the next step to be on the next level. So that's definitely something important.
Well, thank you so much, man, for coming on and talking about this topic. I really appreciate the insight. Not only for myself, not only for the audience, but it was good for me to hear too. So thank you. Final question. If there's one piece of advice that you could tell yourself at the beginning of your Blvck Jesus project, what would it be and why?
Produce more than I did. I wish I started off as a producer, but I didn't. I started off as a DJ. I could tell myself one thing. I would go back and be like, produce. Just produce. Don't worry about anything else. Just produce. Literally, that's what I would tell myself.
That's smart. Yeah, I know a lot of my friends are like just DJs in that, like for like a couple of years, and then they're like, I need to start doing producing. I'm like, you should have started producing, but okay.
It's never too late. Like a lot of people feel like, oh, it's too late or this and that. Like,
no, it's never too late, but yeah.
It's so easy to learn when you really want to learn it. And there's so much information on YouTube and different sources. Like there's this
now is like, I feel like is one of the easiest times to become a music producer.
Absolutely.
A music producer, entrepreneur, whatever it may be, like use the freaking internet.
Yeah, the internet is there. Use it to your advantage. Like definitely.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Before we get out of here, I just wanted to ask you what's on the horizon for your project this year. What are some of your goals?
So we're working on some EPs. We're gonna put out a very special version of Ruin My Life soon.
Awesome.
In the works. I got a collab with etc coming out.
Oh, I love him. Oh yes, that's so sick.
Coming out very soon. A couple of collabs with some other friends too on top of that. I got a big release coming out next month, so I'm super stoked for that.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. Lots of shows and stuff.
Awesome. How can we support you? Where can listeners find you?
All my ads, I guess you can call them. Yeah. Blvck Jesus Music, Blvck Jesus Music. It's all one word, so you can find me on any platform.
Sick. And that'll all be linked in the show notes like normal.